Hey guys, you looking to be successful at your 2018 fantasy football drafts? And we've got you covered here with the 2018 Draft Loadout with information like my guys, bust candidates, sleepers, deep sleepers, rookie splash, value candidates, and even the loadout software with over 10 years of information packed into a software app for your mobile phone, tablet, or your PC. Make sure you head over to thehateful8ff.com, click on the average donation tab, and sign up via our Patreon account.
Welcome Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. Fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Fantasy football talk, Hateful Eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down, Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to LB Design Studio, we're getting loud. Season 2, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host. I'm Pickle. With me as always, Blackburn.
Yeah.
And Trimboli.
What's up?
We'll be wrapping up the ADP's Too High, Too Low segments this week with the wide receivers and the Fantasy Stock Watch segment specifically. It is 4th of July. Well, by the time this drops, it'll be the weekend before the 4th of July. So, yeah.
Pow! Firecrackers.
That's the only thing I dislike.
He is a firecracker over there.
He is on fire today. It's got to be the orange mango.
Shout out to Body Armor.
Yeah.
I like it.
I actually had some of that, not that actual bottle, but I had my own
You
bottle.
better not touch that bottle.
Don't worry.
Listen, I've been seeing him creeping over there on it.
All right. Don't forget to follow the show's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram's accounts. I'm not even going to go back. I'm just going to move forward. On to Fantasy News and Notes.
Fantasy News and Notes.
All right, Fantasy News and Notes presented by Body Armor Super Drink. Superior hydration for today's athletes. Check them out at drinkbodyarmor.com or your local convenient store. First one, Browns play.
They're going to play.
They are going to play. The Browns plan to have a running back by committee. So the Browns running back coach, Freddie Kitchens. Man, he is... there really wasn't probably anything better to pair with his last name, Kitchens. Not that I can say much as my last name is Pickle, but we'll go with stated. Ultimately, all three of those guys can run our running game.
Kitchens Pickle.
Freddie's Kitchens.
I see where he's going with this.
Yep.
Anywho.
And if they are having success, why would we change? Or why would you change? So basically, that pretty much tells me that they have no plan, or there's no plan of what they're exactly wanting to do game plan.
Just going to ride the hot hand.
Yep.
Like everybody else is doing.
Going to be between Hyde and Nick Chubb's going to be your probably early down and most of your like dirty work guys, and then the fact that
Duke Johnson's
going to come in and take your passing downs. So
Yeah, Duke's going to own that third down role. So.
Oh yeah.
well, he did sign. They signed him, so they must plan on using him.
They signed them all.
Well, I'm saying they brought the fact that they brought Duke Johnson back in for the 3 years tells me that they want him around. And they don't think that the other two guys can do it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So. And then the next one, Buccaneers QB Jameis Winston, suspended for 3 games. Not surprised. Winston suspended for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. He will not appeal, which is probably good for his case. I think there was some sort of agreement that him and the NFLPA and his lawyers and the actual Goodell party decided to basically he had to make some sort of apology, personal apology out, and that's what they kept it at, to not instead of appealing. So
well, not to beat a dead horse, but I thought the punishment for this was a 6-game suspension.
Well, that was why they came down to a 3, because he made a personal apparently apology saying that he was in the bad and it was on him, and he apologized, and they basically cut it to 3. There was some sort of I think banter back and forth between him and the NFL. So
let's put it this way: if he holds out and this lingers, and he signs a $21 million deal next year, it's actually going to cost him more to be sat out next year.
yeah.
Right.
So.
Now, Winston's absence will cause him to miss games against the Saints, Eagles, and Steelers before returning to the game against the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Now, he does play.
That's a tough first 3 games.
Probably good for him to be sitting out then.
Yeah, I probably want to sit too.
It's not good for Mike Evans.
No. Well, man, it could be interesting. I think it's more worth the problem against the tight ends, because Fitzpatrick, I looked at his stats, he actually throws the ball pretty much spot on to Wade Jameis does to the wide receivers. However, the tight ends pretty much disappear. Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard will disappear if Magic is your QB.
Yeah.
Everything I'm hearing is RG1, Ryan Griffin.
Griffin
is going to be the quarterback. Everybody's impressed with him in camp.
Maybe they're just afraid to throw Fitzpatrick out there and get hurt against those defenses. So
I don't know. I actually did hear about that too. It was one of the team's beat writers had made that comment, and I was like, Ryan Griffin, I have to go to YouTube and find your gameplay because I don't even know who you are.
Right. But I do agree with you. The tight ends are going to be almost non-existent.
They're the group that's going to be hurting the most out of the passing game because Jameis actually used them versus the two, at least Fitzpatrick did not. They fell off the face of the earth when he came in to be the quarterback. So sorry, don't draft them for the first. Well, I wouldn't draft
them for the first 4 games.
I guess come back into the 5th game and draft them. This guy can't get anything in here.
Didn't know we draft later on in the season.
You know what? You can do whatever you got to do.
Halfway through the season, we're redrafting.
I draft whenever I want to. Let's draft right now.
It's Pickle's show. We're just going to draft whenever the heck he
whatever
wants
you
us
want.
to.
You just draft when you want. And then we had actually talked about it. It's not in the notes, but Edelman. It sounds like that he might be potentially not missing any games now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, apparently the testing that they did, it came back with a unrecognized, I don't know, whatever you want to
Samsonite.
Samsonite was way off.
Way off.
Substance. Man.
We're going to need a your bull drop. Come on.
You know what? Here.
No, it's got to be your bull.
So the substance was unrecognized. So basically, it files under the mishandled or whatever, and not a proper testing. So they can't basically suspend him for it. Now I know that both sides are basically pushing for their agenda to, this is now per the CBA. This is what it's recognized as. Versus Goodell and his group up there saying that, well, we're still going to suspend you. So we'll see what that ends up coming out. But it sounds like the Patriots and their front office guys, as well as the team, is thinking that Edelman's not missing the game.
It would be a messed up test or something funky going on when the Patriots are involved.
Shocking.
I was trying to think of some kind of gate going on with this, like the PED
Substance
gate. Substance gate. I liked it.
Your unrecognized substance gate. That's really long.
Edelgate.
Edelgate. There you go.
Edelgate.
I like it. Edelgate. And then we decided to go ahead and, since we had Luck Watch and that ended a couple weeks after we started it, we decided to bring in a new segment for the listeners. It's called Des of Our Lives.
I'm about to enjoy what I always wanted to do. You know, it's a new chapter. You know, there's only one way I can look at it. You know, it's just time to move on and go on to the next.
Yes, Des of Our Lives this week.
There's more drama in that show than there is on every other soap.
Right.
Oh man. So Des Bryant still unsigned.
It's going to take like a major injury from somebody in camp or preseason for him to get signed at this point.
I honestly think I agree with you, and I honestly think that him and his agent with Rock Nation, Kim Mael, I think they rolled the dice and thinking that not just the Ravens were going to be come knocking on the door to get Des to come play, and I think that when they realized they had made an
on to the next.
So
man, the Raiders are signing every old guy. Let's just add Des.
If Martavis ain't playing for the season, I mean, they could bring him in, and we'll just
on to the next couch.
So, so we'll kind of keep you guys under. We'll keep you in the inside in the know on Dez's situation until he signs. So hopefully it's not like next week, and then we got to come up with another fun segment. So, thanks.
I think this one's gonna ride out for a while.
Thanks, Andrew.
It's gonna win a daytime Emmy too.
A fantasy Emmy. All right, so let's get into the questions. We had plenty of questions from you guys, the listeners, this week. So let's go ahead and get into the segment, Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
All right. These ones came from Sleeperbot app from our listeners. First question is from D Deer. I'm assuming that's and it's not a stutter. Deer.
Dirt. No, it's Didier.
Didier. Okay. Didier says, you are in a standard redraft 10-man league and assume Gurley, Bell, Zeke, DJ, Kamara are gone. If you are picking at 6, who would you rather take from AB, Hopkins, Gordon, or Barkley? We'll let the residential running back.
Wow. I love this question because I know we're all going to disagree.
Yes, very much so.
And I can see everyone being in this spot. So for me, I'm staying on the running back train here.
I know.
So,
That's why I said our residential running back.
and actually, I'll probably take the flyer on Barkley.
Ooh.
Ooh, gonna jump over Skinny Legs Magoo and Gordon.
Listen, I'm not happy with it could go either way, but I don't know what I have in Barkley, so I think the upside.
The unknown upside.
yeah, it intrigues me.
The enigma.
It intrigues me.
Okay. So, and who are you picking out of this group?
Antonio Brown. All day.
See, he's got a wide receiver, top 5 wide receiver. I'm picking DeAndre Hopkins out of this group, and it's just because it's ride or die with Watson apparently, and even when Watson went down last year, he still was a valuable fantasy football option. So,
But Brandon Whedon wasn't his quarterback last year.
this is also true. I'm all in on the
I know you
DeAndre
are.
Hopkins. So I'm all in on that.
So Barkley, Brown, and Hopkins.
Not one agreement on.
I like it.
So
I like Gordon, though, too. I'm not going to lie.
No, I do too.
I was gonna say if my running back out of the two, I was gonna pick Gordon just because you know what you're getting versus Barkley.
Well, I like your question you asked earlier, so let's go back one pick. Let's say it's Kamara. You're at the 5th pick.
Okay.
Now,
And Kamara is in the mix. I'm
He's
taking
in the mix.
Kamara.
So you're adding Kamara's name into the mix.
I will take Kamara over Antonio Brown.
that's what I want
I
to
would say I would take Kamara over Antonio Brown.
We're all in agreement then.
Okay, so then on to that was actually a pretty good question. Raja 20 says, "What do you think is Isaiah Crow's stat prediction? Stat prediction will be for this year." So based on his, what did he have last year? We said 800.
853 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushing.
Okay. Do you think he hits that level?
No,
I think he's under.
Okay.
I think he's under 750, under 5 touchdowns.
I say
You got Bilal Powell there. They're going to be playing from behind a lot. He benefits more in the passing game.
him and Elijah McGuire, I think, are
Yeah.
going to be in the passing game more involved. Crowell's going to get replaced like he was by Duke Johnson
Right. He's going to have his games where he,
early on.
yeah. And then, but when I just think they're going to be playing from behind a lot, especially in that division.
Especially with that offense.
Right. I mean,
Sam Darnold giving away prizes.
he's the third stringer right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry. He'll be that quarterback one by week 1. They're going to play him. Don't worry. He'll be handing out hot turnovers like Nathan Peterman on that Buffalo winter day. I've got him at
What?
I rolled with it.
Yeah, give me those hot turnovers.
Hot turnovers. Peterman's hot turnovers. 700 rush or
You put
700.
ketchup on that?
I mean, you can put whatever you want on there. It doesn't matter. It still sucks. 700 rushing yards, and I've got 3 rushing touchdowns for him. So I think we're all in agreement that he's not coming close to the 850 and
No.
5 touchdowns.
I think
So-
the only thing north he could do from last year is maybe more touchdowns.
Maybe. Goal
If-
line looks.
Right.
Right.
That's
That- yeah, I'm not on board with the on that. So then Captain Jack 14 writes, people compare Brandon Cooks to Sammy Watkins. I'm not sure why. Watkins left the Rams with very little in reception and yards, but has 8 touchdowns. Where will we see these 8 touchdowns go this year? Cooks, Woods, or elsewhere?
Elsewhere.
Gurley and Cup.
Yep.
As I say, I say the majority of them go to Gurley and Cup. I do see Cooks obviously still going to get some touchdowns. Obviously, he's going to have those games where he's going to have a touchdown every once in a while. But I don't see him taking all 8 touchdowns. So I still think with knowing what Cup did last year in that offense and being the number 2 in receptions in the offense and number 1 wide receiver as a rookie last year, I have a hard time believing that Brandon Cooks is going to come in and take anything away from like that.
What if Tyler Higbee just comes in and blows everybody up? Tyler Higbee, 8 touchdowns.
That's what you just call one of
Yeah.
those fantasy football anomalies.
So you just drop the mic and walk away.
You just say, sorry, I'm out. And you hope that you didn't draft Brandon Cooks.
If that happens, I will do the punishment for our league.
Oh, man. So it sounds like majority of us at least are in agreement that Cup and Gurley will see the majority of those 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the receiver, that ball is going to be spread around to those guys.
Oh, yeah.
So-
And Gurley's always in the mix.
Very much so. All right, Nacho Taco. Cool name.
Love the name.
Yes.
Creative. I like
I'm
it.
actually pretty jealous.
Who has the better year, Cooper Kupp or Juju Smith-Schuster?
I'm on Juju's train, so.
I'm all about the
I agree,
Juju.
Juju. There's like we just talked about with the Rams. There's so many mouths to feed there, and Goff will spread it around.
Right.
In Pittsburgh, it's going to be Brown, Bell, or Juju.
And
In my opinion.
Right, and I was going to say, I still think Cooper Kupp is the wide receiver 1 there in LA, and I think he's going to get more coverage than Brandon Cooks. Versus, I think Antonio Brown obviously is going to be the wide receiver 1, and Juju is going to see less coverage. So I think opportunity potential is going to be there. Plus, I just think that offense in Pittsburgh is just As long as everybody stays healthy, that offense is just going to go. And they got James Washington, who's going to be a deep threat. They're getting Vance McDonald involved in the offense this year with the tight end that they haven't in a couple
He's the
years.
question mark right now. Because if they really decide to go tight end and he has a big role, that could eat into Juju. But
Yeah.
He's no
Right
Tyler
now.
Higbee, but he's
Tyler Higbee.
he could do good.
He's no Tyler Higbee, but he can still catch a ball. Just saying.
Get him, Tyler.
Get him, Tyler. All right, we had one from Twitter. It says, Garland boys, do you see Royce Freeman being this year's version of Kareem Hunt? We'll take that first question. Do you see him being this year's Kareem Hunt? So I'm assuming somebody who's being drafted late in your regular drafts, not rookie drafts, regular drafts, but has the potential to be top, we'll say, a running back 1 this year. I'll paraphrase what I'm assuming he means.
Well, Kareem Hunt finished 3rd overall last year.
And he was drafted somewhere in like the 6th or 7th round last year.
Right.
So I guess what he's saying is based on ADP, Royce Freeman's probably going around that same window. Do you think he has the potential to be a running back 1 based on his opportunity and the offense that he's going to be in?
No.
Yeah.
I have him as a running back 2.
Yeah, the difference here is Hunt was going into the lead role because of injury. We knew it.
Right.
Where this one, it's going to take a minute.
Because they've already said they're on Booker. They're on
Right.
Booker to start.
Right.
I think Freeman now to piggyback on the second question will take over. That's the number 1 spot, but it's not going to be right away. That's what helped Hunt. Hunt was early in the season where he got all his points.
Well, his first game he had like 42 points.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the league slowly caught
Did
up.
I say the second part of the question, or did I
No,
stop?
No,
we
we
stopped
stopped.
at the first part.
Okay. Okay. So the second part of the question, like you were referring to, is how soon, if at all, before he takes over Booker and becomes the running back 1 there in Denver?
I'd say before the first half of the season's over.
I think by game 1 he will be. Honestly, I think the camp's going to show preseason and camp's going to show a lot between them. That's the separation
Well,
point.
Booker will be on a short leash. I know they've came out and said he's going to start, but what they've seen last year with him and CJ, he's already going to be on a short leash.
Right.
Yeah. So all right. Let's see, Henry Owens. Now these guys are on the Drafting Sleepers platform. Henry Owens says, "Is Juju Smith-Schuster being overvalued in the 4th round? Seems like it's an aggressive ADP to me. I don't think it's really aggressive. Aggressive would maybe be like the 2nd or 3rd round.
Right.
4th, 5th round, I think, is a comfortable spot drafting Juju Smith, honestly,
I
in
agree.
whichever format, standard or PPR. Or I shouldn't say standard, non-PPR and PPR. How about that?
Right.
What do you think?
Well, currently, we talked about that PPR standard. Right now, the two wide receivers going right after him is Larry Fitzgerald and Marvin Jones.
Okay.
PPR format, I would pick Fitzgerald
So yeah, I agree.
over Schuster.
Just
And
for the
in
receptions.
and in
point of view.
standard, Marvin Jones, I would pick ahead.
Yeah, but I do like Juju Smith-Schuster's opportunity. But
Yes.
the question mark is if they do start bringing in, how much do they use James Washington? How much do they use Vance McDonald? And if those increase, then it's got to come out of somebody's pocket. And I think Juju, because they're not going to take it away from Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell.
Well, see, I look at this question how I draft. So I'm normally gonna go running back, and then I'm looking in the 4th round. I've got to get another receiver. What's gonna be left?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the 3 guys we talked about, Fitz, Jones, and Juju, are right there.
Yeah.
And,
So.
and Edelgate.
Edelgate,
Yeah.
especially if he's not suspended at all. Seems like an aggressive ADP, so I think we all agree that the 4th round really isn't too aggressive. I
Low
think
4th, high 5th.
Yeah.
Is
It
where
all,
I feel.
and on that point, it all depends on your draft. So.
True.
Yeah, it all depends on how your style is.
Right. Justin Vogel says, of the players projected to go in the first 2 rounds of this year's draft based on ADP, who is the most likely to be a bust? So we chose guys in the 2nd round because we've talked about guys potentially in the 1st round drafting-wise who we thought could be a potential bust already. Right. So we took guys in the 2nd round specifically. He said pick a running back and a wide receiver, so he wanted one of each. So who did you pick as your, I think running back wise we all had the same
We all
guy.
had the
Consensus.
consensus running back was LaShawn McCoy.
Right. So we all picked the same guy. He's the end of the 2nd round.
O-line's trash.
He is the face of the Buffalo Bills. There's no Tyrod. Kelvin Benjamin, your best wide receiver. Charles Clay he's basically a slow turtle, so he's not going to be scaring anybody. Tortoise, if you want to
Wait,
call
what's
it
the
that.
muscle hamster again?
And then rejected
Ninja
Ninja
Turtle
Turtle.
reject.
Yeah, there you go. So,
I love that name.
all right, wide receiver. Who did we pick? Each of us, because we all picked different ones, I think. Or did we not?
No, I think we're in agreement.
Okay, so, okay. We picked Julio Jones, and I think it's just because of potential on the games that Julio missed out on being a wide receiver 1 last year. There were more games.
I want to take out that the bus word, and just say the value of where he's at. He's a third wide receiver.
None of these guys are going to be really a bust.
Right.
No.
A bust would be last year if you drafted Mike Evans in the first or second round, and he finished in the 20s.
Right.
But I picked Michael Thomas. I know, okay. But I'm just saying, with the emergence of Kamara,
Don't you
and
do
when
it.
Mark Ingram comes back, I just think that running game it takes the pressure off Breeze. He wasn't throwing nearly as much as he has been in the past, and I think that Thomas will be he'll get some stuff taken away there.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be a bust.
Right.
But it could be a decline in production.
I agree with you. I think what it's going to come down to for Michael Thomas is how well Kamara – I know it sounds weird, but I think how well Kamara does in his first 4 games. Because if Kamara is just lighting it up on the board and just taking it and running with it, no pun intended – and when Ingram gets back, I see Ingram – I'm not saying Ingram can't do something, but I just see that they're going to rely more on Kamara than they are Ingram. And I still think that there's nobody – I mean, don't get me wrong. You got Cameron Meredith. You got Ted Ginn Jr. there. I mean, there are guys that could potentially be pass-catching guys, and you got Benjamin Watson there. But overall, Michael Thomas is going to be the main receiving guy, not named Kamara. So
I was just thinking about actually is maybe go aggressive with Thomas. You ride him out without
ride him
Ingram
for those
there.
first 4 weeks.
And then when he's doing more,
Flip him.
flip him. Yeah.
What's
I
that?
was-
What's that? Flip your house or whatever on HGTV. There's like a show.
Move that bus. That one?
No.
No.
That's
I was excited.
Did you invite him today?
Fixer upper? What are we talking
No,
about?
that was
Flipper flop?
Flip or Flops one, but you're talking about Flip This House.
Yeah, specifically the
And
name of
you're
it.
talking about the show with that guy on it who comes in there.
The buses disappear, and yeah.
I forget his name.
I know who you're talking about, though. All right, on to the next one. Mikey Winsell writes, if you choose to go quarterback by committee and take 2 quarterbacks who are currently not ranked in the top 10 for their position, which 2 do you take? So who did you put as your quarterbacks?
Extreme Home Makeover.
Yeah.
There it
that
is.
guy.
There you go. You know what? Give him. Where's this at? Boom.
Well, don't give it to
Boom.
me.
Knowledge.
To Google.
Google to the cloud. All right. So who is your 2 quarterbacks that you're drafting that are currently not in the top 10 to be? I guess I don't want to say a streamer, but essentially, basically, you're drafting 2 quarterbacks that aren't currently in the top 10. If you're going to stack them.
If I'm going aggressive or I'm going to go back to back, then I'm going to go Stafford Rivers.
Same.
What in the world, y'all? Did you guys look over my shoulder?
No.
No.
I literally wrote Stafford Rivers.
Listen, I look right at you. I can't even look over your shoulder.
I did mine last night.
Who brought this guy?
Boom. Mind blown.
Now, okay.
Also, Manning and Tyrod wouldn't be bad either.
So I was going to say, let's flip the question. Now, you're still going to do a quarterback by committee. You're going to take one at the 10 or right outside the 10. And
Get
then
Stafford.
you're going to go one late. Yeah.
Take a chance on Manning or Tyrod just based on whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you will just say draft somebody like Watson with the potential of a bust. What, did I miss something?
No.
Yeah, like answering the question.
Did I not answer the question?
Yeah, he said you could take Stafford or Rivers and then take a guy late. Who would you pick? And you were like, well, let's go with talking.
So what I meant was, like we said, if you're going to stack them right away, meaning you're going to go back-to-back picks, let's say.
Okay.
That's how you're going to get Stafford and Rivers.
Okay.
Now you're going to separate them. So you're going to is Stafford going to be your first?
Okay, yes.
Now you got a couple picks going by. Now what's your other quarterback you're going to go by committee?
Late quarterback.
Someone you think's got like upside. That's what I'm getting at.
The 3 that come to my mind initially would be Eli would be one of them. Andrew Luck, if there's any chance he's going to play this year. And I know as weird as it sounds, but Jameis Winston, because I think he's going to go undrafted in a lot of leagues now because of the suspension. And he's got a pretty good back end of the schedule. So, just saying.
Right.
I like the Eli. That's where I was headed. So
Eli's got a pretty good schedule overall, and their first game of the year is probably his hardest one against the Jags. But outside of that, it's a pretty easygoing schedule, honestly. Plus, playoffs aren't bad, so I just think people are going to be sleeping on Eli, and he might shock some people this year. Not like shock him, but never mind. All right, Franklin. Franklin writes, apparently he didn't want to put his last name. Franklin writes, how big of an impact is Jameis Winston's suspension on Mike Evans' value? What do you guys have any notes or any responses to that? Do you think it's going to affect his overall play or value?
Well, right now he's going round 3, pick 4. He's wide receiver 9. I mean, I don't think he's going to drop that big.
No.
But we talked about it. At New Orleans, at home against Philly, and at home against Pittsburgh is the first 3 games.
Two of the 3 are for sure rough. And then the third, I don't know about their secondary too much.
Well, the Saints, I mean,
Saints are good.
Yeah, well, Philly
will be good.
Pittsburgh's
defensive rush will probably be better than their pass game.
But I'm saying with inexperienced quarterback, I mean, if it is RG1, then I don't know.
He's going to be the guy in the 3rd round you don't want to pick, and you're going to do it. And you're going to hate yourself because the first 3 weeks, it's going to be rough.
Well, it might be worse. It might be rough after that.
But see, that's where I'm the other way around. I would love to bypass him and try to go after him. Maybe after week 1 or 2.
Like trade?
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, bypass him, then get him.
That's what I mean. Like, so let him go, and then when the season starts, you aggressively go after him.
He was my first-round pick last year.
I don't know. You know what?
And he ended up in the 20s. Like, I was so disappointed.
That's exact theory. I tried last year, and it did not work.
But the year before, he was number 1 in NFL.
Yeah.
Right? Receiver.
I think it hurts his overall value some. I mean, obviously it has to because Jameis Winston does make him a better wide receiver overall. But he didn't drop too much production-wise when Fitzpatrick came in. Now, if it's Griffin, obviously we don't know what kind of chemistry they're going to have in that group. But overall, I would say it probably drops him back maybe a round. So instead of going in the 3rd, maybe the 4th round.
That's what I said. Maybe a round or 2 at best.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the most you're going to see him drop because I don't think there's no way that Mike Evans on name alone makes it out of the 4th round in anybody's draft.
Just about to say if you did
Mike Evans, I'll take him.
Yep.
Right.
So regardless of
the guy that listens to no one, doesn't even look,
lives under a rock.
Papers, boom, Mike Evans.
Just looks at the paper and goes, Mike Evans, I know him. He plays down in Tampa.
I know that guy.
All right, I think that's all we got for the questions. Thank you guys for sending those in.
Yeah, that's awesome. We love that.
That's a lot of questions, and I actually enjoyed answering those because they were different. Like, they weren't the same. So there was a different variety.
That's what different means, guys.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the last episode and last segment for Fantasy Stock Watch. This one is the wide receiver edition. There it is.
This is Fantasy Stock Watch.
All right, Fantasy Stock Watch, wide receiver edition, presented by Fantasy Fate Ball, the one and only Magic 8 Ball for fantasy football. 20 custom answers to help you make those critical start-sit decisions in the Sunday morning agony. Head over to fantasyfateball.com. Use the promo code HATEFUL8 for $5 off your purchase. All right, so wide receivers today. Who would like to go first with their too high?
I'll do it.
Too high.
I like
Tyreek Hill.
Woo!
Right now, his current ADP is round 3, pick 8, wide receiver 10. I got him wide receiver 15. No Alex Smith there. He was third in the NFL in accuracy last year, 67%. He is the definition of boom or bust. Like, last year he had 9 games of under 10 fantasy points, but he had 4 games where he was above 25.
Wow.
So
Yep.
We talked about it all last year. We said, unfortunately, the weeks that you play him, you hope that it's the boom weeks. And the weeks that maybe you're kind of on the fence, that you end up sitting him, you just hope it's also not the boom weeks.
but unfortunately, if you draft him at the 3rd round, you're not sitting him.
Right.
You're just gonna have to.
Well, you're drafting for his ceiling
Right.
because it's high.
And you better hope it's boom every game.
Yeah.
Because there's games, obviously, that it was not a boom and he disappeared. So
Better be some boom going
Right.
on.
But they still have Travis Kelce, Hunt, and they added Sammy Watkins
say it
to
ain't
eat
so,
up targets.
Sammy.
And I just think Tyreek Hill alone just rests on what Patrick Mahomes can do. I'm not sold on Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I think ultimately, and this is what I've started going back and looking at stats and potential projections and things like that, and I agree with you. I think Tyreek Hill is going too high for a lot of unknowns. Had Alex Smith came back this year, I think that it would have been I think he would have justified a wide receiver 1 spot. But it's a new quarterback, and it's not that I can't say that I think that Patrick Mahomes is awful or anything, but there is unknown, and you're drafting a wide receiver connected to an unknown situation. It's not like it's coming back to Alex Smith where the last 2 years he's been a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2 or whatever. You don't know what you're going to get with Patrick Mahomes now. I do think, though, that I think people are going to be surprised by the end of the year when Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins, and I'll put the asterisk.
What was that?
That was an asterisk. I was trying to do it quickly.
For our podcast, folks, I have no idea what he's
Never forget it. Anyways, asterisk. I'll put if Sammy Watkins plays all 16 games, I think him and Tyreek Hill are closer in overall fantasy points by the end of the year.
You tried to make a pound sign.
No, I tried. Is that what that was? Hashtag?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, hashtag too hot.
Throwing up gang signs over here.
Not trying
It's
to.
a family show. Come on.
My apologies to all of you. Yeah, I just think that Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill, if both play 16 games, their points at the end of the year will be a lot closer. Defense is going to be horrible, so I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have to throw the ball a ton, and I just think that Hill is going to dictate a lot of double coverage.
I like it.
I agree. I mean, really, I do. I really like Sammy Watkins.
Plus,
so.
Sammy Watkins is going like 2-3 rounds later, so why
Right.
take a guy in the third round with question marks around him for the quarterback and not
One of the
take the
better-
exact same guy
Yep.
potentially 3 rounds
Well, no,
later?
you said it best. It's almost the exact same guy. Again, a boom or bust.
All right, so here's the deal. Him and Juju's going around the same. Would you rather take Juju or Tyreek Hill?
Juju.
Juju.
Ooh, man. I
Because
like
Big Ben is
Yeah.
consistently, you know what you're going to get.
I'm on Pickles Island today.
Good or bad, you know what you're getting with Big Ben. You know his splits, you know his offense, and I just think they said that they want to run a lot 2-man offense style, up-tempo, no huddle, which is good for the passing game. So,
I like it.
all right, who is your too high?
My too high is Jordy Nelson.
Ooh, good old Jordy.
And actually, he's a wide receiver 26, ADP 7th round.
A wide receiver. Oh, so he's likely like right at the end of the
receiver
the
two.
wide receiver 2, beginning wide receiver 3s.
Yep. Still don't even like him.
I like him if he's got a quarterback named Aaron Rodgers, but that's about
Well,
it.
that's what I was going to say. I think his ADP and everything is only going to be on name value only.
Can't always go on the names. Can't always
So-
go on those names.
When we looked at McCoy, went for the age of decline. Well, I did it again on wide receivers.
Look at this guy.
And the age of decline is 33. And guess what? Jordy Nelson is 33.
Oh,
So percentage of a 33-year-old wide receiver finishing top 12? 0.
I feel like that's a bad number.
Yeah. How about this?
This minute.
Goose egg.
Finishing wide receiver 2? 33.3.
Okay, so he's got a third of a chance.
Third, a 33% for a 33-year-old.
Oh.
Math.
33.
And this is what kills me, because if you're going to draft a 26 wide receiver, you only
Yeah.
have a 50-50 chance of getting wide receiver 3. So you're still a shot in the dark.
Three. I'm just saying. Every time I look at Jordy, I'm thinking of the number 3.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at 3 and 30. I'm going to look at Jordy and just
There's a
think
theme here.
33.
I see it.
It's all about the threes.
Yeah,
I literally
so-
can see. I'm not good at reading upside down, but I can see a bunch of threes with next to Jordy's and his names and stats.
53 receptions last year. Hey.
Well, hopefully Carr is better than what he was last year. Hopefully he'll be healthy this year. But
Hopefully, he gets
Well,
out
that's
of
what
the
I was
garage.
going to say. So Nelson's value at Green Bay was his red zone.
yes,
Problem is, Carr was not very good last year in the red zone. He
No.
ranked 22nd in pass attempts at 47. He ranked 23rd in completions with only 24. He only had a 50% completion rating inside the red zone.
wow.
I hope Gruden's a good mechanic because the car last year had a lot of check engine lights going.
Dang, I like it.
I do too. You better go to Midas and get that fixed.
It's the Midas touch.
Didn't.
All right, so
Anyways, so for him, I'm more comfortable round 8 or 9.
yeah,
I'm with you on that.
I've just never been a Jordy fan. I don't know why. Even when he was, destroying it there in Green Bay, I just never been a Jordy fan. I don't know why. I guess it's just because it's not a sexy pick when you pick Jordy Nelson. You either it's really like top 5 or wide receiver 2.
I just think it's the same thing we look at when we look at Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams. Take them off Aaron Rodgers' team.
Right.
What do we have?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, Devontae Adams didn't do bad when Hundley was in there
he was the guy when Hundley
until he
was
got
there.
macked in that game.
True.
But yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
I just
that guy
think
was gone.
I think Jordy's carrying his weight on name only.
That's what he got his contract on.
Oh yeah.
His name alone. They're like, oh, you're Jordy Nelson? Okay, here you go.
You know,
Gruden's like, hey, he was good like in 2005.
last time I coached, he was a Pro Bowler. Let's get him. And he was all looking like,
Jeez. Oh, man.
I love it.
Is that all you got on
I got
good old Jordy?
Jordy.
Old man Jordy?
Old man Jordy. And Muscle Hamster.
Muscle Hamster. All right, my too high, nothing, no pun intended, is Josh Gordon. Current ADP in a 10 team he's sitting at wide receiver 13.
I just got that.
Really?
I am on fire today.
Yeah,
no one is picking up on these.
No, that was, dude. That's 2 in a row for him at least.
So, current ADP 403, so 4th round, 3rd pick, wide receiver 13. So he's literally going right on the cusp of the wide receiver 1. And I'm sorry, but you're living off of the 2013 hype of Josh Gordon. And it's nothing against him. I think he is a freak of an athlete as a wide receiver as well. But they made upgrades at all the different positions. Quarterback, they upgraded. Running back, they upgraded. Wide receivers, they brought in Jarvis Landry, who is a reception monster. The tight end with Njoku is going to be used more in this offense. They already said, Todd Haley already said this offense is going to be very quarterback friendly. So I'm just saying and Corey Coleman's there. So I'm just saying there's plenty of options. When he was in 2013, when he was blowing up on the football field, there wasn't anybody around him on that offense that was even close to his talent level. I mean, and he was just destroying DBs, and I just think that they didn't realize how good he was. And they didn't have any film and everything else. In 2017, he only played 5 games from weeks 13 and 17. In that time frame, he had 8 receptions, 335 receiving yards, and 1 reception touchdown on 43 targets. He had 43 targets and 8 receptions. Does anyone see that could be a problem? And now, I do think that a lot of that was because of the quarterbacks that were in that offense that were horrible.
True.
That most high school seniors could play better, but that's neither here nor there. But I think he could be a low end wide receiver too, so more like towards the 20 to 22 range. But his current draft price is just too high for me. I think everyone's just using him as the fantasy football unicorn, like the mystical what if. You don't want to be the guy that drafts him and gets completely screwed. And now you drafted him as your wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, and he just poops all over the place, and you're done for the year. Versus, you also don't want to be the guy that was like, he's nothing. Don't worry about it. He's not going to do anything. And then he blows it up, and he has something close to the 2013 year.
See, to me, Josh Gordon is Juju Smith-Schuster right there. It's the same player. He's got the potential to be high, but he should be drafted in the 4th round.
Yeah, I mean, he's being drafted in the 4th round, but I just can't expect him to be where that is. I mean, to me, Josh Gordon is not a wide receiver 13.
No, that's what I'm saying. He should be.
And that's where he's being drafted as early in the 4th round as the wide receiver 13.
I'm going back end, maybe even.
I'm thinking like
under.
6th round is where I'm comfortable taking Josh Gordon.
What are you taking, Gordon over Landry?
Yeah.
And standard?
Yeah.
So I think the touchdown numbers are going to be Gordon.
I think it's closer. I think
you're right.
But I'm saying when you go to PPR, I think that the gap between Landry and Gordon goes versus standard. I think Landry is still ahead, but not by much. Maybe like 10 fantasy points, like a touchdown difference.
I got you. Yep.
So I don't know.
I don't like him at the wide receiver 13.
I've got him as my wide receiver 30 right now, and in standard.
I don't think I have him that low.
I just think they're just going to be throwing the ball a ton to different guys. I think Tyrod Taylor's going to spread the ball around with that much option offense. I mean,
and that could
Hyde and Chubb are going to come in there and do their thing, ground and pound. I mean, it's Todd Haley. Todd Haley likes to spread the ball around. He likes one guy, and he likes a guy who can catch the ball. And Landry has proven he can catch the ball. Just saying.
Right, and Tyrod's not going to throw the ball for 4,000 yards, so.
No.
That's also
There's only so many options and so many opportunities. So
I just like Gordon for the upside of the potential touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the hardest thing to predict.
But are you drafting a guy in the first couple picks of the 4th round on potential touchdowns?
No, that's what I was saying. No,
as your
I
wide
like
receiver
him more.
2.
No, for me, he'd have to be on the tail end of 4 into 5.
I mean, technically, at this point, way you draft with 3 running backs first, he would be your wide receiver 1 at this point.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
No. Yeah, negative Ghost Rider. All right,
I'm just not going to draft wide receivers. Just load up all running backs
in his trade,
and then just
trade them later.
No, just argue with the commish for super flex everywhere.
Negative.
All right, who do you got?
The commish probably wouldn't go for that. I just got a funny feeling.
No, that guy is strict.
He's a real jerk.
My 2 lows, Robbie Anderson, believe it or not.
Good old Robbie.
He's number 1 on the depth chart. Has a good rapport with Josh McCown, who finished 4th last year in accuracy at 67.3%.
Wow.
Robbie Anderson finished wide receiver 16 last year, 2017. Yes, they added Terrell Pryor this year, but guess where he finished last year? 112.
Rumpke.
Well, he was hurt for a little bit, but then he lost his job to Josh Dotson, and in a pass-heavy offense. His current ADP right now is 11.6, wide receiver 43 for Robbie Anderson. I have him inside my top 20 right now.
It's opportunity alone. He should be.
He was involved in off-the-field issues with some felony charges. Those got dropped. I think the NFL, they said, could be like a 2 or 3 game suspension that he could go to, but it hasn't came down yet. So I'm going off of this as there's going to be no punishment, and I think he should be way higher than 43.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 43.
Yeah, I mean, I have him. I don't know exactly where I have him, but I mean, just based on trying to remember, I have him as like a low-end wide receiver too. So somewhere in that 25, 26 range, I think is a good spot, just because the opportunity alone. I don't think Terrell Pryor does anything major, and Quincy Nunwa is probably his biggest competition.
Right.
But I think he's going to be a lot more possession than he is.
Robbie Anderson's a home
touchdowns.
run hitter.
Right.
Well, and I think you looked at this the same way I looked at it, is this is a potential number 1 on the Jets. So if you can get a number 1 this late, that's where his value's going to go.
And we just talked about on the Corral situation that they're probably going to be playing from behind a lot and having to throw a bunch. And why not?
They turned it on last year. I mean, halfway through the season, that Jets offense turned it on.
Yeah.
If you can make your third wide receiver on your fantasy team a number 1 on someone's team, that's unreal.
That's a good situation.
That's where you want to be. You give yourself the best upside.
Yeah.
So I'm not bad on Robbie Anderson. I always forget about Robbie Anderson until like something
until he's in the news for doing
something.
Something
in the news or somebody mentions his name.
Because he plays for the Jets.
True. I kind of forget that they actually have a football team.
Dumpster fire.
The epitome of what a dumpster fire is. All right, who is your too low?
My too low is coming from your team.
Oh yeah,
Allen Hurns.
Oh, good old Allen Hurns.
ADP 11th round and wide receiver 41.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to piggyback what Blackburn said. This is a potential number 1 on the Dallas team. So if you can get him as your third guy, I'd be in love with it. I mean, here they have him as like the 4th or 5th.
Yeah. I think he has the opportunity to be the one just as much as I think Michael Gallup has to be the number 1. And I think it wouldn't be a problem to take. I mean, you could take Allen Hurns and you could take a couple weeks into the season to see if it really pans out or not, drop him and pick up Gallup if Gallup starts taking off as the wide receiver 1. I mean, where you're drafting him in the 11th round, that's not a bad spot to be drafting a guy that's probably going to be sitting on your bench.
No, yeah.
And you just wait.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad spot to be in. I mean, Terrence Williams is not going to be anybody. Cole Beasley's going to be hot and cold all year just because that's just what he does. He shows up for a couple games, he catches a couple of random passes that are big momentum shift for the Cowboys, and then he disappears for the rest of the game. He's not a continual guy to play every week. But
see, what I like about Hurns is addition by subtraction. Witten out, Dez out.
That's a lot of receptions.
220 targets, 172 receptions, almost 1,400 yards, and 11 touchdowns. They have to go somewhere.
Yeah, and they brought him in as their best free agent.
Yep.
So
yeah, they could have went out and got some of the other bigger name guys, and they chose to take him and then draft Gallup. So I mean, I think that speaks volume. Plus, I know that when he went and visited with them, he immediately told his agent, "Get me signed here," because basically, I'm assuming he saw the writing on the wall too. That hey, they got nobody else to compete with me. I'm the best guy. If I come into this wide receiver room, I'm the best guy in the team.
Yeah,
his thing is staying healthy.
Right.
That is the case.
The last season he was healthy was his career year. He had 64 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns.
That's when Allen Robinson both went off that year.
The last time he played 16 games too.
So you have at least a general outliner as to what could potentially happen. And I know that some people will say Blake Bortles is really good, and you got other people who are saying he is hot trash. But I think that given the offense, because that was before they had Fournette.
True.
So I'm just saying he's walking into an offense that's got a stud running back, one of the better offensive lines that they re-solidified, I should say, through the draft. They got a defense that's improving because they did bring in some guys that they're going to need to play all year.
Van der Bosch.
Yeah, that guy.
Van der Bosch.
And then I just think that they're going to rely a lot more on Ezekiel Elliott that they couldn't last year, and I think this helps the passing game. And that was the year. I mean, Zeke's rookie year, the wide receivers, specifically Dez, played pretty well, and so did Witten. I mean, the passing game was good because Dak didn't have to force it. He wasn't having to take over the game by himself. He had Ezekiel Elliott. So I like Allen Hurns. And like I said, I agree with you. Allen Hurns is somebody to pick in the 11th round. Play him a couple of weeks. If he doesn't do well, or he sits on your bench for a couple weeks, and you see that it's the tide is turning. Jeez, the turd. The tide is turning.
You had it right.
The turd.
It's Dallas.
I heard you. The tide it's turning and towards Gallup. I think that then you can drop him and pick up Gallup. But if he stays as the wide receiver 1, you got a wide receiver 1 on a team in the 11th round. So.
Yep.
I like it.
All right. Mine is Corey Davis for the Tennessee Titans, the wide receiver 1 there. Current ADP 809, wide receiver 31. And he's, like we talked about, wide receiver 1 on that team. Played 11 games last year, missed due to injury. I think he had like soft tissue injuries in the season, but he did miss most of the preseason last year in his rookie year because of, I forget what, he had some sort of off-season injury stemming from college that he had to take care of, but he wasn't ready by the time preseason rolled around. So he missed a lot of that key crucial time for a rookie to kind of get acclimated to the team. In 2017, finishes the wide receiver 102.
Yeah.
It's a solid year.
That is a solid year.
Still higher than Terrell Pryor.
Love it.
Jeez, rough.
Straight Rumpke.
Right. In 2017, he had 34 receptions, 375 yards, 0 receiving touchdowns, and 65 targets. Do you see a comparison between him and Josh Gordon? No.
None.
Gordon played 5 games and got 8, 30, 35, 1, and 43, where Davis played 11 and got 34, 375, 0 receiving touchdowns, and 65 targets.
Listen, my only argument for Josh would be who was throwing him the ball compared to Mariota.
True. That's why I'm saying it's kind of scary. Now, I will say, though, that they did bring in the new offense coordinator, Matt LaFleur, from the LA Rams, also from the Shanahan coaching tree, which is a good thing.
Yes.
They like to pass the ball, so that's a good thing. I just think that he's going to bring in a more passing, explosive game. Explosive passing game. That's what I wrote. Explosive passing game.
Rating is hard.
No, it's got to be your bull.
All right.
You gonna go for the trifecta?
No.
You need it one more time.
No. Rams 2017 red zone. So this is all the Rams pass receiving breakdown.
All your positive stuff's being negated.
I know. I usually have such momentum.
Go on.
Such momentum lost.
Where's ABC Mouse at?
I don't know. The Rams 2017 red zone touchdowns, pass versus run, 62% pass, 38% run, 68% passing touchdowns to the wide receiver. So I just think Matt LaFleur is going to distribute the ball to the wide receivers more. The year that Matt Ryan had that MVP year, he was the quarterback coach. So I'm just saying.
He had RG3s, too.
Yeah, I'm just saying he has a tendency to make quarterbacks better, and he has a tendency to make sure that they lock on one wide receiver. And this is the wide receiver 1 in that team.
Yep.
And I just think LaFleur has stated that he wants to use him similar to Cooper Kupp, which Cooper Kupp was the number 1 wide receiver in receptions and targets last year, and the number 2 receptions and targets overall on the team behind Todd Gurley. So
I like Corey Davis here.
that's another reason why I'm really trying to decide. I'd like some sort of gray area sifted out between Henry and Lewis, because whoever they decide to go with, they have the potential to be crazy good.
I think you should draft them all in your first 3 picks. Just
Right there.
get it out of the way.
Derrick Henry.
Another guy I didn't mention because we talk about him all the time is Marvin Jones. He's being drafted way late too.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was top 5 last year.
I just think that I'm not saying he's going to be a top 5 again, but
No,
he has the
but-
wide receiver 1 potential.
He's got the same problem that Stafford's got. He puts up enough numbers, but no one ever wants to give any credit to him. He just falls.
Phillip
Yeah.
Rivers is the same thing. Guy
Yeah,
always-
absolutely.
I mean,
Phillip Rivers.
I think it's because it's not, unless your name is like what, Rodgers or Brady or Breeze,
Watson.
or you're the new
Russell
shiny
Wilson.
toy, Watson and Russell Wilson, you
Right.
really don't get a whole lot of credit in those wide receivers. I mean, Matt Ryan just is 2 years removed from a career year, and everybody forgot about him.
And a Super Bowl blunder.
Yeah.
Can't forget that.
Cam Newton is high and low. I mean, I don't know, man. Stafford and Phillip Rivers are guys that I'd be looking at in late round drafting for quarterbacks specifically. I don't know why, but I agree with you. Marvin Jones, it's shocking that he is still going so far late in drafts. I will gladly draft him all day and sometimes twice on Sunday in that ADP.
You can't draft them twice.
If I have 2 drafts that day, I can. Leave me alone.
True. You got you there.
So I got Corey Davis at wide receiver 22 on my rankings. So just saying, there's a lot of potential. And he's a wide receiver 1. And if you can get a wide receiver 1 way middle to late round, why not? So
Especially if they're the number 1 on that team. It's
Right.
Volume.
they're the guy that they're going to be going to in those clutch situations or the crucial situations when they're down and needing
Especially
touchdowns.
in PPR formats. Like, get these guys.
The first 10 rounds, you want to get volume, guys. After that, then swing for your fences.
Potential. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's literally, as they say, the cliche, it's a dart throw at that point. I mean, and you're just hoping that guy sticks. So,
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
No,
don't.
I was going to
Just
go off topic.
just go with it. All right. I just want to say thanks again to all of you guys for tuning in to today's show via the podcast or on our YouTube channel. Please check us out on our site, thehateful8ff.com. Check out the articles and apparel. Make sure you follow the personal accounts at jpickleTH8FF, at jblackburnTH8FF, and at ftrimTH8FF. Don't forget to join the Average Joe Nation via our Patreon tab on the site, where you can sign up and order the 2018 draft loadout, which is on pace to be ready for this July, first of the week of the July, which would be next week. So make sure you get in there and order it, because the software is up to date, ready to go. And it's gonna have a lot. I mean, it's got like 15, 16 years of stats and different numbers that you can sort through and everything else. So don't forget, we have a new announcement with the.
That's what I was.
I thought you.
No, I was
wanted to
making
take
sure we got that.
Yeah,
in.
I got you. Our chief editor and writer, Jonathan Stone, at John. Whoa, I just dropped the ball. Anyways, forget it. He is doing the DFS podcast. So
Wait. It's your bull.
yeah,
No.
3 for 3.
No,
He dropped the
it's
ball.
got to be your bull.
Oh man. All right. But yeah, so Jonathan Stone, he is going to be starting up the DFS podcast for us. So the Hateful Eight DFS podcast is going to be hitting this season, and he's going to help you guys win on draft. Whatever format you're on, he is going to get you covered and get you the most optimal lineups. So finally, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to leave comments, you want to ask us questions, you can always find us on Twitter. I mean, we have it on the site. You can ask us questions.
Love the questions.
I was going to say, thanks for the questions. We love the interaction between comments, questions. We like it.
I love seeing the ADPs too high, too low. I
Yeah.
want to see them.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else?
That's it, guys. Thanks. We appreciate it.
All right. We'll be back next week, and we are going to do I believe, a mock draft next week. So we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that format. But make sure you guys check it out. So we'll see you guys next week.
One more time. There ain't no one like these three. You know you just heard Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli. Get the goods talking about nothing but fantasy football. Yeah, it's your year to dominate and to wear that ring. Prepare for the draft and dial in on your craft. Quarterback, the first round is a good choice, you ask? This guy's got first round pick, a favorite?